Today, we're diving into the forgotten war for Hollywood. It's an incredible story, really. It's about how one of America's most famous inventors, Thomas Edison, almost killed the movie business before it even started, and how a handful of rebels fought back to create the entertainment capital of the world we know today.
So how did this happen? How did one of the most celebrated inventors in history come so close to stopping Hollywood dead in its tracks? Well, it's a story about genius, sure, but it's also about greed and an incredible rebellion that all starts right at the dawn of cinema.
So, let's set the stage. Picture it. The dawn of the 20th century. Movies are this brand new, chaotic thing. It's like the Wild West, you know? Full of flickering lights and these hand-cranked cameras.
And while audiences were just completely mesmerized by the magic they were seeing on screen, Thomas Edison, he saw something totally different. For him, this wasn't some new art form. Nope. It was property. Patented intellectual property, to be exact. He'd invented the tech, and in his mind, that meant he should own the entire industry. The whole thing.
And look, Edison wasn't interested in just getting a piece of the pie. He wanted to own the whole bakery. So his next move was incredibly decisive and pretty ruthless. He decided to consolidate all the power under his control.
So in 1908, he makes his big move. He forms something called the Motion Picture Patents Company, which pretty much everyone just started calling the Trust. And the strategy behind it? It was both brilliant and honestly, brutal. He went to all his fiercest competitors and gave them a very simple choice. Join me or I will crush you.
So, how did they pull this off? Well, their methods were shockingly simple and effective. First, they pooled together every single crucial patent for cameras and projectors. Then, they made an exclusive deal with Eastman Kodak for all the film stock. Think about that. Suddenly, if you wanted to make a movie, or even just show a movie, you had to pay a fee to the trust. And if you said no, if you refused, well, that's when they sent in the hired muscle, guys who would literally smash your cameras and run you out of town.
And you know, this wasn't just about money. It had a huge impact on creativity. The Trust, they loved short, cheap, totally predictable films because they guaranteed a quick profit. There was zero incentive to innovate, to try something new. And the result? Cinema on the East Coast just stagnated. It got boring.
But you know how these things go, right? Every empire eventually creates its own rebellion. And a scrappy group of outsiders and immigrants, people who really saw the true potential of movies, well, they decided they weren't going to play by Edison's rules.
And just like that, the battle lines were drawn. On one side, you've got the Trust, the powerful, buttoned-up East Coast establishment. And on the other, you have the independents, these scrappy immigrant entrepreneurs who are willing to risk absolutely everything to tell bigger, better stories. I mean, it was the classic David versus Goliath showdown for real.
So who were these rebels exactly? Well, they were men whose names you'll definitely recognize. They would become absolute legends. We're talking about Carl Laemmle, the guy who would go on to found Universal Pictures, William Fox, yeah, that Fox from 20th Century Fox, and Adolf Zukor, the man who would create Paramount Pictures. These were the guys who looked at Edison's empire and said, no thanks, they refused to bend the knee.
Okay, so with Edison's goons basically breathing down their necks back east, these independents really only had one option: run. They started this huge migration out west, trying to put as much physical distance as possible between them and Edison's enforcers. And their destination? It was this little sun-drenched town that was absolutely perfect for filming all year round, a place called Hollywood, California.
But just running away wasn't going to be enough. I mean, sure, Hollywood was a safe place to work. But to be truly free, to actually build something lasting, the independents knew they had to take the fight directly to Edison. And this time, the real war wasn't going to be fought on street corners with hired thugs. It was going to be fought in a courtroom.
And their weapon of choice? It was a big one, the Sherman Antitrust Act. This was a federal law specifically designed to break up massive monopolies. Think about it. The very same tool that was used against industrial giants was now in the hands of a few defiant filmmakers. It was a gutsy move.
So, led by the incredibly tenacious William Fox, the independents sued. Their argument was pretty straightforward. The Trust was an illegal monopoly, and it was strangling an entire industry. Edison's lawyers, of course, fired back, saying they were just protecting their legal patents. The stage was set for this absolutely grueling legal war.
And this battle raged for years. I mean, the entire future of American cinema literally hung in the balance. And then, in October of 1915, the decision finally came down.
And the court's ruling? It was absolutely decisive. And for Edison, it was devastating.
The court declared that the Motion Picture Patents Company was exactly what the independents had been claiming all along, an illegal conspiracy.
And just like that, with one ruling, Edison's iron grip was broken. His dream of having total control over every inch of celluloid film was completely over. The trust was shattered.
You can just imagine the shockwaves this verdict sent through the entire industry. But the fall of the trust, it wasn't an ending. No, it was a spectacular new beginning.
Because with all those legal barriers gone, filmmakers were finally free. Free to innovate, free to create longer, more complex, more interesting films. The control of cinema was literally wrenched from the hands of an inventor and given to the storytellers, to the showmen. And this single victory, it's what paved the way for the explosive creativity of what we now call Hollywood's golden age.
So, this incredible battle for independence, it laid the foundation for the entire Hollywood studio system. But it also leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? In defeating Edison's monopoly, did these rebels simply go on to create powerful new empires of their own? Well, that's a story for another time.